Hey, want to get a child renting?
What's going on?
I don't know.
You let her just run away?
Caleb, will you please just stay?
And I'm the one who's unfit? Fuck yeah!
Okay, welcome back to the Harbor Kino Summer Series. We're taking a little break from Indiana Jones while Scott's in fucking LA/Long Beach.
Also, while we wait for the fifth one
For the movie to come out, yeah.
because
And
at
yeah.
this point the movie's not while we're
Yeah,
watching.
Scott's doing some badass stunts comedy wise. Hopefully he's, running the comedy store at this point. Who knows? He fucking got it from Pauly Shore, he's the new owner. Anyway, I myself am about to head out on vacation. And because of that, because I'm going to Orlando/Kissimmee, I was really thinking about the Florida project this week because I watched it. The whole reason I watched it is because the last time I went, I stayed on the strip that this movie was set in, and I sent a photo of the Wizard store to you guys, and you were like, "Oh shit, that's in the Florida project. You need to watch that movie." And it's like, yeah, it was one of those that like been on my list for a long time, but I figured, I'll probably not. I don't know if I'll get around to watch this movie. It's just one of those things that was just on my list for a while, and then you're like, "No, you should check it out," and I'm glad I did back. So,
real quick, welcome back to the Harbor. This is your boy Austin here with Kino. We're starting this. Oh, you did do the fucking introduction.
What are you fucking?
I'm tripping, dude. I thought you didn't. I'm fucking.
Yeah, I did the whole intro. I'm talking about the movie.
No, I've worked like fucking 60-hour weeks the past 2 weeks. Give me
Okay.
a break.
Well, yeah. Welcome back, everybody. Anyway,
you can edit that out, hopefully.
No, it's okay. It's kind of funny. We're very professional here at the Harbor during the Kino Summer Series. Drinking.
No, but yeah, I do remember you. Remember you going to Florida? I almost said to the Florida project. And it was like I literally just watched this when you sent that photo, maybe like 2 days beforehand.
You're like, whoa.
I was like, what the fuck? This is an important set piece in the Florida project. I was like, you really got to watch it.
Yeah,
because this is one of my like all-time favorites.
I was gonna see it in theaters when it came out, but I was just in a dark place in 2017. If you want to see my inner machinations, go watch what's it called? Summit of Saturn. Instead of going to therapy, I made that movie at the time, so check that out. Anyway, this was almost like a weird companion piece to going to Disney World because like it's like once you've been in this area, it's like you can see the motel/Airbnb that we stayed at in this movie, which tripped me out. And it wasn't like as bad as these places, but it was like, I don't know.
And there is a definite poverty line when you go to Orlando and these types of places where tourists go, that also if you step fucking 10 blocks a certain way, you're going to hit these very impoverished projects, basically. You're going to hit these places where people are struggling, and you never think of that because what's 15 minutes down the road, the happiest place on earth.
And that's the thing is like, I've always been super interested in theme parks, and of course Disney's the cream of the crop, so I really enjoy Disney World. And it's hard to, if you follow me on social media, you may have noticed that, and it's hard as a patrician to enjoy Disney World because you try to have to beat the Disney adult allegations. You don't want that in your patrician life, and it makes it hard when you really enjoy these parks. So I just want to get that out of the way.
What's worse than a Disney adult? A fucking brony, a fucking all these other things. It's cool. It's okay to be a fucking Disney adult.
I'm not a Disney adult. I just enjoy going to
fucking
Disney
adult, dog.
I enjoy it.
That's the thing.
We might even do a fucking episode on the Imagineering story. It doesn't matter. I love how this shit works.
Or literally, we have plans for like full on deep dives into like the film and theme park connections later this year.
Well, yeah, I think I'm gonna turn that into like a video essay though, instead of making.
So even more so, you're a Disney adult. It's okay.
No, I'm not a Disney adult.
Adrian, you have your doormat to get into your apartment is the
Don't
classic
say it.
Haunted Mansion characters. It's okay. Say it with me. You're
No,
a Disney
I'm not.
adult. I'm a
I'm
Disney
not.
adult.
It's okay.
I
Listen,
like anime. Doesn't make me a fucking weeaboo.
yeah, but dude, I hate Disney adults. I like the theme parks. Anyway, it's all right. There's some preliminary stuff I want to talk about before we get into the actual film. And it's that when I first heard about Sean Baker, he came into film circles heavy with his film in festival circuits called Tangerine from
Classic.
2015. And why it was talked about, the main focus point was that he shot the film on iPhone 5s. And to
Fucking
me,
insane to think about that now.
that was like the most vindicating, like inspirational thing. I was like, okay, this movie is doing really well in the circuits. It was shot on iPhone 5s. And at that time, I was reading that article. The middle act of Moonman was shot on an iPhone 5, which is a film I made back then, if you don't know me. Because like we shot the first part on this shitty SLR in 720p, and then the middle act was shot on iPhone 5 while I was waiting to get my new camera, and then the last act was on that new camera. But it was just like such a vindicating thing. I was like, yeah, you can shoot a movie on an iPhone. And when he did, he used this Moondog lens from this company, Moondog, and it attaches to the front of the iPhone and creates an anamorphic lens and makes it really cinematic. Well, guess what? I fucking bought that anamorphic lens for my iPhone and used it to shoot the last or a little portion of one of my films, Summit of Saturn, and then I used it to film the entire Patrician's Guide to Kino film, which is a tie-in to this show right here, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to check that out. But it was heavily inspirational to me that he did that.
It had to be fucking vindicating. Like
Yeah,
you have to have had
I
so
have
much just like validation and like energy to continue on with the art when you have someone who has made the rounds like that. It's cool to see.
and yeah, so I have a whole fucking feature film shot like that in anamorphic on an iPhone 11 because of
Every time you keep saying
Tangerine.
anamorphic, I just think of that shitty book series.
Oh no, dude. I'm talking about, like
I know what
classic,
you're talking
nice.
I'm just like my brain goes to this guy turns into a cheetah and fights aliens. That's cool.
Dude, I never really got into those books.
Dude, if I ever did a video essay, that's one of the things I would do it on because it's one of the most fucked up series I've ever read. It's fucked.
Anyway, I was really thinking about this movie again because I am going to go to Disney World again, and I'm not this rich fuck, but I do put enough money back. I don't really go out to bars a lot. I don't do a lot of crazy shit that requires money. I torrent most of my movies. I have a pass for AMC that lets me go see 3 movies a week for $20 a month, et cetera, et cetera. And so every couple of years, maybe doing a little, let's see, Disney a little bit, or I want to go to Dollywood at some point soon, stuff like that.
Well, but it's not. We're not like these big people who can go and do these vacations. And
Yeah.
if I were to go on vacation with my dad, God forbid I go with my father again. He's got the money to have like do it real up on a vacation.
Yeah.
The vacations we have, we plan pretty extensively on, and most of my vacations, you take one big vacation. Like comparatively, I take smaller vacations.
Right.
I'll take
Yeah.
a 3 or 4 day weekend trip in the fucking woods. And you definitely, especially growing up, whenever we were poor and we weren't able to afford vacations, with like my mom and before my dad started really making money, we would stay at these real seedy hotels in fucking Branson. And
Yeah.
they were like right off the strip, like across the street, you could walk to the fucking, I don't know, some shitty chain restaurant or like Taco Bell. And it had an outdoor pool, and that was the big thing.
Hell yeah.
And it's like this whole movie primarily takes place at one of those seedy hotels that like There's a point in the movie where even like a group of tourists don't have anywhere else to go and they refuse to stay at this hotel.
Yeah. And that's the thing, is like we have some experience, you know, you and I both grew up very poor. At least we didn't fucking live in a motel on the strip. And
No.
we've been to some seedier locations, and we have both, as lower income folks, interacted with a lot of lower income people in our day. We can relate to that.
No, that hotel looks exactly like the hotel my mom would book and we would hang out at all weekend when we would come to Fort Smith to see my dad's family. She would book 2 rooms and shove 8 of us kids in one room and then get fucked up with my dad and his family in the other.
Yeah.
And so like I those rooms look the exact same.
Yeah.
And I remember I used to call the place the wrong name. I used to call it the Four Seasons, which is like a luxurious hotel.
Yeah.
My mom would just be like, yeah, it's the Four Seasons. So I'd get back to school and tell them, I'd be like, yeah, we stay at the Four Seasons. And people are like, what? Like, no fucking way. Like,
Yeah.
you're on free and reduced lunch, kid.
Yeah. Yeah. Just like this place is called the Magic Palace, similar to Magic Kingdom, you know?
Yeah.
And that's the thing, is like the whole contrast is that this film exists in the shadow of Disney World, and it's this weird, it was like this weird, almost like companion piece to my trip when I went. And I don't know. The film opens with like that track, that celebrate good. It almost feels like it's gonna be a feel good movie or something at the very beginning.
Like it's gonna be a fucking hood comedy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like you're gonna come
Yeah.
in there and fucking Ice Cube's cooking burgers, or something like that. It's and then it very quickly shows you, oh, this isn't like this is a celebration because the kid is ignorant and doesn't realize that they're fucking struggling.
Oh yeah. And that's the thing, is like yeah, the motel we stayed at, because I ordered what I thought was a condo on an Airbnb. This wasn't the big trip. This was like a small little side trip thing. Just to, it was like, okay, we're here. Let's go by Disney World at least while we're here. But it was like it was when Airbnb was kind of struggling right after COVID, really. And so they were like, these motels was like, oh, we're gonna rent out these Airbnbs, except there's just a motel room. And I was like, well, okay, whatever. And it was not as seedy as this place, but it was
Yeah,
but it was just reminding me, it was so similar to that scene where the newlyweds are like dropped off and the foreign fiance is like, this isn't it's supposed to be the Magic
yeah, she
Kingdom.
was not about it.
And and it's like, imagine thinking you're going to like the Grand Floridian at Disney World or something.
Dude, the only time my mom's pretty good about staying. My mom is pretty good about making it when we were kids look like we weren't staying in these shitty areas. But apparently my mother does have a limit. And last year we took her to Miranda Lambert, is a famous country singer, for Mother's Day. And she's like, I'll book the hotel. She's a travel agent, so she's been traveling for 30 years. So she's like, I'll book the hotel. I can get it cheap. I was like, all right, fuck it. Book the hotel. And she books it, and we drive up, and it's like the fucking Crystal Palace in Breaking Bad, with like broken down cars and shit in the middle of the fucking parking lot. My mom immediately was just like, I don't feel safe.
Yeah.
Canceled it and rebooked like immediately.
Yeah, fuck all that, dude.
I was like, I'm fine. I've got a fucking gun. Like, we'll be good.
God damn. I want to say the most interesting part about this movie is that a great deal of it is from Mooney, the little girl's perspective. And she's like inadvertently always listening in, even if she doesn't realize it. And even when like the mom's talking to the social worker, the mom's out of focus, and it's focusing on Mooney and just playing with like her Barbie dolls while listening in on the conversation. It does that for a lot of the scenes. And that's what makes the movie work so well to me. And like a lot of the angles are even from Mooney's height and you're having to listen to a lot of the dialogue while the kids are doing stuff. You're kind of trying to have to figure out what they're saying and stuff.
Can I just say this actress who plays Mooney
is incredible.
Fucking incredible.
And that's the thing. Every time we talk about movies that have a lot like a kid actor in them, it's like, to me, it's magic. I don't understand how you get a kid to act like this in front of a camera, but
I'm very excited to see where her career goes from this, because this is a type of role where like she's playing such a nuance. Every single character is nuanced. We said this to each other the other day. Every single character has so many complicated aspects to them that like it's incredible that it all comes together as like a cohesive project. And so you've got this little girl who is very ignorant of the world, but at the same time, she's fucking street smart. Like, she's charismatic. There's the scene where she's trying to get ice cream, and she's just in your face. She's a hood kid, is what it is. I was one of those fucking kids. Like, you're in the face. You fucking, hey, you got 10 cents? I can get 10 cents. Blah 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 blah. All that kind of shit. It's like you learn to get what you want by being a kid almost. And she's hanging out with other kids who are a little bit, some of them are a little bit more ignorant, and then some of them are a little bit more diabolical.
Yeah. As when they're trying to get ice cream, it reminds me of like when teenagers try to, hey, mister, at the liquor store. But for ice cream. That's the thing. She's so inexplicably nuanced for like a 6-year-old kid. It blows my mind.
It's it's incredible. Like I said, I would love to see. Her name's Brooklynn Kimberly Prince. She's relatively young, so I don't know when we anymore.
That's the thing about her character is when you grow up in like a rough or like, you know, poor environment, there's a lot of damage control. I'd say your psyche does automatically that you don't even realize until you're older by, you know, either stuffing your memories down or making things seem better than they are. And you can see in Mooney's performance, you can see this in her face. It feels like she has this like subtle guard up that she has about a lot of things. It's very like, it's not like, I don't know what I'm trying to say is like, there is this little guard up that she breaks at the end. And when she does finally break, there's a big emotional release that you haven't seen until then. And it just hits like so hard.
Well, it's like her understanding of the world around her is definitely skewed because of the amount of how much she reveres her mother, even though her mother is a colossal fuck up.
Yeah.
Like, it's almost unforgivable, some of the shit her mother pulls. Yeah. But it's also, I'm empathetic. But at the same time, Mooney is, the world around her doesn't seem so fucking bleak. Like, it's obviously a very bleak and kind of sad, it is a very sad setting that she doesn't fully understand. Like, her biggest complaint in the day is not being able to hang out with her buddy who lives with their grandmother, you know, a few feet away, or, you know, not being able to get a soda pop. It's nothing like her mother, though, has kind of manipulated her worldview into that position because, for one, her mother is she just got fired from being a stripper, basically.
Yeah.
And she's pretty much taken in by the manager of the Magic Castle.
Yeah.
Bobby, who Willem Dafoe, it's one of my favorite Dafoe roles.
Yeah.
Incredible protector and purveyor of good in this fucking movie is what it feels like. But he's got a limit. But she's taking advantage of that. And instead of paying the rent that she owes a lot of the time, she's able to garner sympathy from him. And the money she does have, she bombards Mooney with a bunch of treats and a bunch of cool shit. And it makes Mooney feel like the situation isn't as bad.
Yeah.
Very like manipulative, which I get why she would want to do that.
Yeah.
But it skews her worldview into thinking that this is okay.
Well, obviously the movie's, you know, nature versus nurture, and you have to really get into that towards the end. But and that's the thing is like when movies take place in like poor environments and they cast a really well-known celebrity, normally it could take me out of the movie because I know what kind of life they might live outside of this. And I know it's acting, but like still, some of these fucks have never lived that life, and it makes it less believable for me, even though I know it's acting, blah, blah, blah. But despite all this, Willem Dafoe fits right in, and he's a masterclass in this movie. And he's great.
He reminds me of like, he's got that fucking middle-aged guy handyman look too, of like down, like beat down Wranglers and like plain t-shirts tucked in.
Hell yeah.
He is literally the only genuinely good and thoughtful character that the Mooney and her mother really get to experience. Besides, I think the grandmother's good too. She's just been put in a shitty situation.
Yeah.
And he's empathetic, and he's consistently thinking and making these decisions for he knows what he's doing is enabling, but there's a limit of his enabling, and it sucks that it reaches that limit, but it's something that needed to happen. Also, one of the most memorable scenes in this whole fucking film, and one of my favorite scenes, is when he confronts that pedophile. There's
baller, dude.
To set it up, there are these kids playing in the field right next to the hotel, which is common. If you're in a place like this, you'll usually see a bunch of like chitlins. Even when we would stay at these like shitty hotels, or I used to get dropped off in the trailer park that was down the street from our apartments to go fucking out. But these kids are playing together, and this old man handed Puckett's like, anybody want a soda? Anybody want a soda pop? Being real fucking weird. And Willem Dafoe kind of walks up and acts like he's gonna help this man get a soda pop, and then lays the fucking like gift of gab on him, dude. Just fucking, he's like, I'll fuck you up if you come here again. And it's like, Willem Dafoe has never been more intimidating to me than in that scene, and I'm just like, that's so fucking tight.
Yeah,
I'm glad they put that in there. That just makes Bobby's character it makes you, that's like the first scene where you truly feel like he really, really gives a shit about everybody.
Yeah, and it's like, obviously these kids around are a pain in his ass, but you see how much of a blessing he is that he was in Mooney's life, even if it's just for this little part of her life. It's just so important.
Well, yeah, because like they all fuck around with him. They're little mischievous. These are the kids that you would go and you'd see when you were younger that had all the gold or the silver teeth.
Yeah, I have a silver tooth.
Well, you know what I'm saying? Silver teeth kid. I never did. I've got perfect teeth. I did. The silver teeth kids, the ones that are fucking people all the time. And it's just a group of them, and he's a lot of the time terrorized by these kids.
Half the kids in my elementary school, dude. I went to Ida Burns. Shout out if you know that place.
That's how you know the poverty school, dude. It's just like half the kids have silver caps.
Yeah, dude. And that's the thing, is like the amount of like just random mundane shit that we see these kids do to keep themselves busy, entertained, is like, it's really realistic, which makes it even more heartbreaking, because it's just like, damn, dude. Like, if only they had like a nice playground, or like at least like a Wii or something. Like, damn.
Dude, right? Yeah, no, it's definitely, you leave these kids up to their own sources, and what do? They walk a fucking mile or two down to an ice cream shop and beg for ice cream.
Yeah.
No, or what's one of the big climaxes of the film? They find an abandoned house and burn it the fuck down.
And that's the thing, for that scene, it feels like they were fucking around and smashing shit because it's abandoned, so fuck it, but it's kind of gray area to me if they were expecting it to burn down, or if they were just lighting that pillow on fire in the chimney because they thought they would just light that on fire.
I do not think that they meant to burn that down at all. I think they fucked around and found out. I had kids that I grew up with that we would, these are the warnings the parents would give you. Like, I went to school with a kid who had a massive burn on his face from lighting antifreeze on fire.
Yeah.
And like, you got all these warnings and things like that trying to scare you away. Those things do happen. And this kid was, they obviously they're getting their anger out, because what did they do when they go in there? They start smashing things.
Right.
And a lot of these areas, that's why I think it's cool that they showed this part of Kissimmee, because like a lot of these areas have abandoned like resorts and hotels and condos and things like that that just didn't work out. Because what is this? What year does this take place in?
I don't know. I assume the year, like mid 2010s.
Because like
You see an iPad in it, so
okay, this it's an abandoned condominium.
Also, yeah, they have magic bands too. So
well, it's like after the recession, there were so many abandoned fucking projects.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Like one of the whole things in Arrested Development is there's abandoned condominiums and stuff right before the recession hits. All that.
Yeah.
But think about after the collapse of the economic shit here. Yeah, you've got so many resorts and things like that from people trying to make good cooks that are just not.
It's an interesting picture. But also the importance of that scene is that they do show, all of them show a lot of remorse, and that's important because up to this point in this movie, Mooney is so like closed off emotionally. You're kind of wondering if she even has empathy because of her mom, but her and her friend, I think his name's like Scooty or something.
Yeah.
And they feel guilty as fuck. And I think that's a very important moment, especially because we were talking about how it's nature versus nurture the whole film. How can you be upset with Mooney at all when she's like 6 years old and she's born into this situation?
But that's the thing. It's like I'm thankful for growing up with lesser after my parents got divorced. That's especially when it happened. Like we had a brief about 5-6 years of like really being good, and like we owned a house, and then my parents split up, and literally all of that went away.
Yeah.
And before we got that house, it was like we were living in fucking shit still. But I'm thankful for when I did grow up, being someone who was on the lower end, having a mother that really was fucking strict. Because
Sure,
like
yeah.
I had a mother like, what's her name in this? Haley. If I had a mother like her, which is Mooney's mother, there's no telling the shit that I would have gotten into.
And we already got into enough shit as it is.
That's what I'm saying. It's like
Yeah.
I can only imagine the amount of fucking bullshit I would have done. Because there's
Yeah.
been a lot of times where it's just like the thought of my mother beating the shit out of me stops me from doing something.
For better or for worse,
Stop me from doing something like way illegal, like
Yeah.
breaking and entering and shit like that. Be like, no, I'm out. Mom finds out I'm fucked. Like,
Kept
not
over
doing it.
1,000. No, but
Yeah.
did we
It's one of those
steal?
things.
Did we steal some keychains from Hastings? Yeah, but it could be worse. But that's the thing is like, I have a lot of stuff. Sometimes you don't realize how long it can take as an adult to remember things from your childhood, and suddenly they'll be recontextualized, and it's kind of can be intense and overwhelming sometimes, and you don't even realize it was hidden away. And I think that film emulates that in a way for me, and that's why it was so powerful to me. And because there's just things you see only from Mooney's perspective and they purposely shoot it like that because she doesn't really know what's going on, and you as the adult obviously do, because there's some real uncomfy stuff in this.
Dude, it's not only uncomfy, it's fucking frustrating.
Yeah, but also it's like, especially when the mom is not knowing what else to do, so she gets Mooney and says, hey, let's take swimsuit selfies, and you obviously know why she's having Mooney take photos of her and for Backpage or whatever. And
oh my god, Backpage.
Yeah, throwback. Not that I would have any idea what that is, but no, it's just like her taking photos with her in swimsuits and stuff. It's just, what's about to happen. And then you get the scene right after that of Mooney in the bath with the music playing loudly. And on the first watch, in that first instance, you may not get what's going on. But then there's another scene And then another scene after that where she's in the bath again, once again, just playing, listening to music. And then on the third time she's in the bath playing music, the scene, you never get the full picture. It stays on Mooney in the bath the whole time, but you hear the man that the mom is sleeping with for money try to go into the bathroom to use it. And he's like, there's a fucking kid in here. And it's just this look on Mooney's face the whole time. So
it's that's fucking expertly done, by the way. Like,
yeah.
The way that they were able to frame that scene.
Yeah.
It's hard. It would be hard. It's hard. I wouldn't imagine it another way. Honestly, it's hard to do some. It's such a dark scene in this movie.
Yeah, but also it's like this is all from the kid's perspective, so it makes sense to do it that way. It's really brilliant.
Oh, that's perfect. Yeah.
And, you know, it's fucking gnarly when you really think about it. Imagine you're paying a woman for sex. You find out her kid's in the motel room the whole time in the bathroom.
That'd be
that's fucked up, dude.
Yeah, I'd be done.
Obviously that scene, you can see why her ex-friend would have called fucking, you know, it sucks, but you can see why.
Also, fuck her, fuck Haley. I don't like. I want to like her so bad.
Yeah,
you want her to. I want her to do something correct, and I want her to thrive, mainly for Mooney, but because there's so much more that she could be doing. She's not fucking dumb, like she's smart. She's just she's fucked up, and
that's the thing,
fact that she had a good thing going with this other mother. And they were each other's support to the point where they were relying on each other for certain things, food, babysitting. They were getting out together and actually doing stuff.
Yeah.
And then she punches her in the fucking face.
Yeah, all because she calls her out for being
shitty.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like I kind of wish we would get more into the mom emotionally, or see like a more likable side from her. But I guess that's the kind of the point.
She's a hot Cheeto girl to the fucking core, dude.
Pretty much unredeemable. She's very unlikable, but like there's a little complexity to her. Like she knows what she's doing. She is doing it to feed her kid and wants to take care of her.
She loves Mooney. She absolutely loves Mooney.
But
it's weird.
Could she possibly apply herself somehow? Maybe. I don't know. But also, people have to remember when you're stuck at the very bottom like that with apparently it seems like with no family around to help, what do you even do?
And this, of course, imagine that now too. It's like, it's 2010.
It makes sense that she would resort to something like that to do what she does, but it also sucks because we're talking about nature versus nurture for Mooney and how she was raised. We don't know what led the mom to get into this horrible situation herself and how she was raised. It might, but it's like it could be a cycle. And so, and because of that cycle, I think it's the best that the cycle gets broken now and that sadly Mooney gets taken away is for the best.
No, for sure. Some people, I have people in my life that have had their kids taken away at certain points, and it's a wake-up call. It's something I've seen change the lives of a few of the people I know. As much as it sucks, because CPS and DCFS do some good, they do not do a lot of good. Sure. It's almost scary you're having your kids taken that way.
Sometimes though.
But sometimes it's needed.
And that's the worst part is like you want to like her so bad, but then like as soon as she like fucking Bobby, who's showed all of this niceness towards her and tries to help her, at the end of all this she's like screaming at him and like puts her tampon on the window and treats him like shit after all this. And it's just like, dude, come on. Like
someone damaged this girl beyond fixing. Not beyond, no one's unfixable. But someone has absolutely damaged this person to the point where they need to hit rock bottom.
Yeah, I guess so.
Like rock bottom is definitely because she's so reactive. Very reactive, very she's defensive. She's cut off emotionally. The only times we see her really have fun and have is when she's fucked up, when she goes out with the mom, or when
Yeah.
she's actively being a mother to Mooney.
Yeah.
And she's one of those moms that it seems like she probably got, how old is she in this film?
I don't know.
She's got to be early 20s.
Yeah.
And Mooney's 6. So she
Yeah.
had her really young and has most likely just been her and Mooney since.
Probably.
So
obviously she doesn't have any family around to help her.
And
Or
she's
she fucking cut bridges or whatever, you know.
Most like I have a theory that she probably got pregnant as a teenager and was then taken away. Like her family had nothing to do with her.
Yeah.
Sadly happens a lot in this country.
There's one scene with her that I do really like. And she takes Mooney and her friend, the girl, the other girl, and she takes them, they walk all the way down to this viewing spot for fireworks to celebrate the little girl's birthday. And she gives them like a zebra cake with a little thing on it, which is nice. And people watching this might think, oh, this must be like a 4th of July thing. No. If you don't know, Magic Kingdom does a fireworks show every single night. So once again, the powerful imagery of them sitting in some random grass next to the road in the basking glow of the shit going on in the Magic Kingdom is there. It's prevalent. It's like, okay, this is happening every night in Magic Kingdom, and they're just watching it from afar.
And it's crazy because they're not able to go. Yeah.
And I don't think this film is anti-Disney World. I just think for them, it's a interesting and easy way to show obviously class divide and perspective.
I was going to say, it's not necessarily anti-Disney World. It is definitely shining a light on the big class divide.
Yeah. And a lot of people have been to Disney World or similar vacations in similar kind of touristy areas. So for a lot of people, it's easy to relate to. So, and like, I also don't like that she brings Mooney on with her, like trying to sell wholesale perfume in parking lots, dude. Because me and Matt were just talking about our different experiences with like kids trying to come in to swindle money out of you, and like he like, oh, can you donate to my basketball game and stuff? That happened to me when I worked at the restaurant, and I was like, we don't, we can't do solicit. It was so obvious. Like I wanted to help out these people, but like, don't pull your kid into it, dude. Don't send your kid in to do your dirty work. I don't mean it like dirty work in like a bad way, but just like, obviously Mooney wasn't the one in charge of doing the sales, but just making her come along because it's like a more friendly thing. Like, oh, there's a kid with her. We feel bad. Okay, here's money. It's just also fucking greasy.
What babysitter would she have?
Well, I don't know. I think this is before. I think she does this several times. At least one of the times that Mooney could have stayed with either of her friends.
I don't know. I don't see it as that bad. It is bad. The walking into a bar and soliciting people is kind of wild. Also, I think that baseball thing is for like an actual fundraiser for baseball. And my dad, I do think it's wild they walked into a fucking bar and did it. But, so my experience with that kind of shit is I go to a lot of music festivals, and there are a lot kids who go around with something that they are selling.
Yeah.
It's either pins on a pin board and they're trying to sell that way, or I got custodied once out of candy because I was too fucked up and I wanted some candy.
Yeah.
I asked him, because I got 2 tiny little sour punch straws for $1.
Yeah.
And I gave him $2. And I go, are you making a good profit on these, kid? He's like, I got to hook up. But there's definitely a line drawn when it's using the kid for sympathy to make money for the parent and the kid themselves making money for themselves. If you're manipulating people by using your child to make money, that's fucked up. That's really fucked up. If your kid's making money because they went to a music festival with their fam, because a lot of these festivals that I'm going to are family friendly and they have family camping and things like that. If you're out there selling crystals you picked up at the mine for $1 or $2 for the kids so they can go get a cool little pendant or something cool online, like that's fine. There's a fine line here because I don't think she wanted Mooney to come along with her, but I don't know if she had the
I think
option.
she did. I really did.
Yeah.
Yep. But and that's the thing is like, I know she's wanting to like give Mooney shit, and treat her well, but you gotta fucking save any little bit of money you can instead of buying her treats and shit, because she steals those magic bands off of that guy she sleeps with and immediately just like starts buying crap at the store that they probably don't need and treats and shit. And that's also a thing. People at home, if you don't know, magic bands are they're your ticket at Disney World. It's like basically so you don't have to take the card out, scan it. If you have Fast Pass, you can just it gets you into like the hotels. It lets you scan into all these different things. It's for families, really makes it more convenient, but it has all your information stored. So really, she's ripping off this guy anyway, like because they're gonna check IDs at the front of the park, and this guy's not gonna be able to get in with these fucking park hoppers. It's like
Also,
she got $400 off of it, but
just
that's
to
like,
reiterate, Kino's not a Disney adult.
yeah, sorry, I know how theme parks work. Excuse me.
we're up to like a few of these niche facts.
If you want to come to Silver Dollar City, I'll show you the way around. You know what I mean? Like, I can't help that Disney is the cream of the crop when it comes to.
I mean, I've got Silver Dollar City memorized just from childhood.
Yeah, and
we do also get to know that Bobby, as like this purveyor of good, also has a pretty tumultuous relationship with his son, which complicates his character even more.
Yeah.
Because I know I have friends. My dad just doesn't give a shit about anybody. But I've got friends whose dads don't give a shit about them, but then they mentor like younger men, and it really fucks with them. So I'm wondering, what caused the relationship break there, but it adds a lot more human aspects to Bobby. Like he's not just this mysterious handyman that helps everybody out and manages this hotel, like kicking drug dealers out and pedophiles and things like that, but he's also a complicated human being with his own past and his own actual life outside of managing and living at the hotel.
Right.
So
that's the thing. There's not a conventional arc for him.
No,
there doesn't have to be. It's kind of slice of life in that way.
Oh, this is absolutely
it's like very realistic, just, and you can see him at the end when he's smoking a cigarette. He feels bad, but he also knows there's nothing he can do. It's just kind of the thing there is to do.
You can only help someone so much.
Yeah.
If they do not take the advice or the guidance that you're providing them, and they fuck up, there's not much you can do besides watch. And
yeah, when she beats the shit out of the other mom, she like comes home and like throws up and cries and stuff. But at that point, it's too far gone for me to care about. Like you lashed out at like you can't. Yeah, it's just too much. And it could be said she's a product of her environment. We don't know what happened to her and her lifestyle, but like that's just despicable behavior. But the one thing I will say, not the only moment of levity, but there's a point towards the end where she already knows in her mind that Mooney is going to be taken away. We don't, if it's your first time watching this, you might not know, but rewatching it was nice because I know it's about to happen, and the emotional buildup. And before the Child Protective Services or whatever come to get her, there's a moment where she takes Mooney to that resort to eat the breakfast there, which they haven't really done before. And you could tell she was saving it for a really important time. And there's this look in her eyes, almost like this glaze in her eye the whole time. She knows what's about to happen. And Mooney's just talking you only see there's a shot and there's a reverse shot of the mom, and she's just not talking, and the most of that scene is just Mooney eating and then saying stupid little kid stuff, which is like, very realistic dialogue, but it's just Mooney enjoying herself and eating all the food she wants. And it's this quiet little moment that she just wanted to do one last nice thing for her, because she knows, I think deep down at this point, she knows it's for the best, even if she can't admit it, even if her mind doesn't know it yet. Because I don't know, all based on that look to me. I don't know.
It's this whole movie. There's a lot. There's not a score. There's not really there's a soundtrack. Everything, it's natural sounds. Whether the Celebrate is coming from like a radio or like and so every scene just feels so hard hitting.
Yeah.
And very realistic. One of the things I want to kind of double back on is the other two kids that we get to know.
Yeah.
During this, we get Scooty. Scooty's he's the silver cap kid. He's definitely like a menace to society. He's a little bit more mischievous, a little bit he's definitely one of the hood rat boys, who is Mooney's best friend at that time. And they kind of rely on each other to survive, and kind of give each other rules and know things that other people don't know. And you don't realize that they know things until JC comes up. JC's the new girl who was living with her elderly grandmother. Don't really know the backstory of why her mom, like, kids got taken away from her mom, but I think it's her and her sister are both living with the elderly grandmother, and Mooney and Scooty kind of immediately takes her under the wing, and teaches the just stupid shit that they know about here, like what angle is the best way to see the tits on the mom that sleeps out on the fucking like just dumb shit.
That casting, dude, is so good. It's just
absolutely
so accurate.
And it's like these children gang together because they need an outlet, but also because like they help each other just survive the shitty situations they're in. And it's interesting because we get down to the major climax of the film, and Mooney, who has taken JC under her wing, is having a moment where she is panicking because she's being taken from her mother. And instead of her taking the lead and leaving, JC is the one to grab her hand, and they run.
Right.
I think that's fucking powerful. That
it's extremely powerful,
like,
and that's the thing.
Taking the hand because they rely on each other.
And that's the thing. Like I said at the beginning, Mooney has this subtle guard up about everything that she doesn't even realize she has up. She's kind of detached in a way, and so when she finally freaks out in front of her friend and she breaks down, it hits really hard, and she's such a little.
That's a teary-eyed moment. For me.
No, it made me really emotional. I cried this time watching that when she breaks down. It's so intense after fun. Yeah, dude, I'm telling you,
because I've been around situations where these things have happened before, and it fucking sucks. It's seeing that kid's heartbreak being ripped from the fucking mother.
Can't even understand
and
what's
unpreventable. Happening. And she's not understanding, she's panicking for JC to, without saying a fucking word, to grab her hand and then run.
Yeah.
It's one of the most beautiful moments I've seen.
It's an emotional release from Mooney as well as the film itself. And that's the thing, there's no score until this moment, and suddenly we have this out of place, like whimsical fairy tale sounding shit as they race to quote unquote Disney World.
That was so wild to me the first time I watched it, and it's just like you can tell that again. You mentioned that this whole movie's from Mooney's perspective, and you know that this is just a thing in her brain that she wants to do.
Of course,
she wants to run away,
which makes it hit even fucking harder.
Yes, because that's not what happened. Like, there's no way that could ever happen. She's been taken, but the mindset her mind was what we are
Protecting
seeing
herself.
presented as protecting herself.
Yeah.
And they make it to Magic Kingdom and escape, and that's the end of the movie. And if you're not wiser, you'd be like, oh, that's great. I'm glad they made it to
What a
Disney
happy
World.
ending.
Yeah, but then if you fucking have any kind of media comprehension, you'd understand that didn't fucking happen.
Yeah, you could get the Redditor who's like, actually, you would have to take the monorail, and then you would need you'd have to have a ticket and a parent, and it's like, come on, dude, think for a second.
This is a beautiful fucking movie, though.
But like that music like clashes with the movie so hard that it almost becomes like harrowing sad, really. But also just like, I don't know. In a way, it's almost beautiful, and you want to hope that she's off to something better for her life. And it's sad,
sure.
But I don't know.
It's just wild that they had like a dreamscape at the end. Like that's what that felt like. It felt like
it definitely
a
is.
dreamscape.
Also, you can't film in Disney World, so they had to. Then that's him. That's Sean Baker going back to Tangerine shit and fucking filming with anamorphic lens on a phone in the park, because you can't, they had to do that like guerrilla style, which was also it didn't have an influence on me, but I was shocked because I was like, wait, I just shot shit for my movie guerrilla style in Disney World. Go check that out, people. I do a parody of Stalker, but with Disney adult version. It's really stupid, but it like ties into the movie, and it was a really funny idea to me. But it was like, I did the same thing with the same anamorphic lens. So watching this at the end, I was like, whoa, okay. Yeah, this guy had a fucking effect on me, and I didn't even realize it. Yeah, what a powerful ending. And then the credits are, there's the music stops as the credit hits, and the audio over the credits is just like people walking around the fucking park. And it's just like almost like this sad, eerie kind of melancholy thing. I don't know.
Yeah, no, absolutely. This was one of those ones where it's like I'd put off so long, because I watched this last year is the first time I watched this. It was like do you watch this for the first time last year too, right?
I watched it in like February 2022.
Okay, so I might have watched it that same month because we talked about it.
Right.
And it's one that I've wanted to do on the podcast for a while. And I think it's perfect that this is part of the summer series, because it is one of the best summer scapes, in my opinion, in recent memory.
Yeah.
This is one of my favorites that came out around this time.
It was so, I knew what was coming, so the build up for me was way more powerful this time.
It's intense.
And while it's going down, Willem Dafoe, he's trying to distract himself. He like tells that mom, he's like, oh, I'm gonna fix that washing machine and stuff. He's just smoking a cigarette, and there's nothing he can do. I don't know. Really great movie. If people, obviously, hopefully you've watched it if you're listening to this episode. But
please watch it if you have. It's a great summer flick. It's one of those ones that makes you think. It's also very greasy. There's a lot of greasy shit in this movie.
It's if you're a real suburban prick, then maybe it might be too much for you. But
that won't be too much for anybody. But it's definitely a lifestyle that I think we need to make more stories about the super impoverished that are the majority of this country.
Yeah,
and
a lot of people, they don't want to think about this shit when they're on their way to vacation and stuff, but it's just the reality. And that's why I was thinking about it the whole time. I was like, okay, I'm about to go back to Kissimmee / Orlando, and so it was really on my mind, and it's like, I don't want to feel like a prick, for continuously going on vacation every year. I probably won't next year, but like, next year I'd like to go to the old country to visit my family.
It's gonna be cool.
So, this is kind of like get it out of my system. I'm gonna go to Disney World once again because I had a cheap fucking deal with Priceline because I'm a baller, a VIP member. So it's not like I'm some rich prick going to fucking, the beach and all that all the time. But I don't know. I have this weird guilt. I feel like, I don't know, because I grew up so poor. I feel really guilty all the time when I actually spend money on myself. and enjoy things.
It's hard for me to spend money on things sometimes.
Yeah.
I do know that I'm very thankful that I didn't realize how poor we were for a lot of my childhood.
Yeah.
My mom tried very hard to make it as fun as she could up until the divorce and her descent into alcoholism. Shout out, Mom.
Yeah.
But like we made sure we had trips to Branson, you know, and we would stay at these resorts. My mom would get Groupons on. So it's like $150 for a 2-bed with 5 kids in it. It's like, I don't know. This puts into perspective a lot of things, and it also brings up a lot of not necessarily bad memories. Like I look at times in these seedy hotels and stuff like that as like they were fucking fun.
Hell yeah, dude. And I'm in the same boat. My mom, despite us being dirt poor, did whatever she could to make it feel special for me growing up. Like once a week, instead of getting shit for herself, she would buy or rent like a new Disney movie or something, and we'd like watch it and have a good time Friday night, maybe get a little ice cream, something special, you know. She was always doing that kind of stuff. At the very least, at least I had the pool, you know, to swim in during the summers, you know. That made up for it.
I was just saying, my mom was a member there from the time we moved,
right,
until it was closed, you know.
And so I do, yeah. Shout out my mom for making the best of it, you know. But I do look back, and she may have been too strict in some places, I will say. But other areas, I do appreciate that, because I could have turned out even worse than I already am. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, man, good summer flick.
Great summer flick. Hopefully we'll get few more bangers out before the summer ends.
Yeah. Next week we'll be back with even better movie, Dial of Destiny. I don't know. I'm just kidding, dude. Well, yeah, you know, it'll be a fun.
That's one of those movies I'm about to eat a fucking edible and go, because that's how I feel like
I'll be in my hotel room. Things might be different in my life. You stay tuned, folks. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Free Melly.
Scott's too busy being a fucking cool guy comic to be on this episode, but I still hope he checks out. He needs to watch this movie, I think.
I think everybody should.
Yeah, it's a banger. Certified A24 hood classic. Thanks for watching, everybody.